Imagine that you knew about the stock market crash of 1929 well in advance of the common man. Obviously, you could use such advanced knowledge to reap windfall profits from the misery. That is, assuming you were to keep the knowledge a secret. So, to what lengths would you go to keep future victims in the dark so that you could achieve the full measure of your own self-interested goals? Likewise, would you expect elites to rise above their own compulsions for power and wealth for moral or ethical purposes to inform the public at large, even if you are not so inclined? The point here is that for the elites, the topic of Planet X has always been about the leverage of deception, because of something I call Titanic rules. First class gets the boats, and steerage goes down with the ship. We're steerage, and the best we can do is to muster an occasional glimpse through a foggy porthole before the elites close it. Yes, it's unfair, but it has always been that way, and each day you spend agonizing over this is one less day you're focused on what really matters: your survival and that of those for whom you love and care. Keep this in mind as we present excerpts from observation reports. On April 24, 2006, Yowza.com broke the story on the South Pole Telescope, SPT, in Antarctica. The stated mission for the SPT really doesn't make a lot of sense because the same science could be done somewhere else at a fraction of the cost. So why build an expensive and sophisticated infrared telescope in such an inhospitable and inaccessible location as the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station in Antarctica? The answer is simple. This infrared 10-meter dish is the perfect instrument for observing an object rising up through the southern skies in infrared. And once they turned it on in January 2007, that's exactly what happened. A year after the SPT went online, the first of 3 highly credible disclosure videos were published on YouTube. The first, posted by Nibiru Shock 2012, was titled Nibiru Planet X Photos Taken January 2008. It was the first time the public had an opportunity to see an image of Planet X in deep space. And here you see a capture from the video, and the same capture again, but enhanced. In it, we see not just one object, but several. This is when we first learned that Planet X is actually a mini constellation of planets and moons, orbiting a small brown dwarf star, that is the binary twin to our own sun. Those of you who were in high school and college during the 1970s may remember this second sun as Nemesis, the designation used by professional astronomers of the day to discuss the possibility that we live in a binary star system. Also, just as Sitchin and Harrington predicted, it would be rising up from the southern skies. But we wondered, could lightning strike twice with another disclosure video? On March 3, 2008, Nibiru Shock posted his second video titled Nibiru Planet X Update February 1, 2008. What do you know, lightning did strike twice. And in that video we're told that Nibiru is now inside the Kuiper Belt, well beyond the orbit of Pluto. In this video, he tells us it is entering our system at an extremely shallow angle. This is consistent with our most current findings. In this second video, Nibiru Shock 2012 gave us a brilliant series of images that clearly show Planet X is a rather substantial mini-constellation of planets and moons, a brown dwarf star that is in turn orbiting our own sun. Consequently, it does not look or move like anything humans have seen in over 3,600 years. He also told us that governments are afraid of a panic. Perhaps. But then again, remember Titanic rules. First class gets the boats, and steerage goes down with the ship. We're steerage. Why do we say this? Because after these 2 videos were posted, the Nibiru Shock 2012 channel was hijacked by disinformationalists, and the first 2 videos were labeled a hoax, and the channel was also corrupted. Having investigated the first 2 Nibiru Shock 2012 videos at length, we published our findings on April 6, 2008, in an article titled First Two Planet X SPT Leaked Image Videos by Nibiru Shock 2012, now seen as highly credible. The reason we drew this conclusion was that these were very impressive disclosures, but the manner in which the channel was attacked showed clear evidence of a well-organized and well-funded use of disinformation tradecraft. Following publication of our report, Yowza.com came under heavy attack. Our site was hacked, and a slander campaign was leveled against us with brutal vitriol. In the process of defending ourselves, we filed DMCA complaints with YouTube, and to their credit, Google removed over 13 different attack videos and terminated 4 disinformation channel accounts. Then on May 29, 2008, we published an update article titled Planet X Nibiru SPT Disclosures May 2008 Report. In it, we presented our analysis of a third SPT disclosure video by a different YouTuber going by the name of DNIR4808N. This YouTuber described how a personal friend working at the SPT had sent him an image of the Planet X system captured by the SPT on May 14, 2008. In the video, DNIR4808N named his friend, and the government had the YouTube channel removed along with this video within a few hours after it was posted. Thanks to an anonymous tip, we were able to download the video before the channel disappeared. The video was authentic, but the manner in which the channel was taken down was clear proof of further government suppression. And when you compare the images in the DNIR4808N video with the Nibiru Shock 2012 videos, it's obvious that both are of the same object or series of objects, which also happen to be in the southern skies. At that point, the question for our team was simple. How did these 3 SPT disclosure videos compare with Dr. Harrington's paper, The Location of Planet X, published in October 1988, and with the illustration he showed Zecharia Sitchin in a 1990 television interview? Luckily for us, the answer came a few months later. Corroboration for Harrington's calculations finally came in 2008 with the last polar flyby of the Sun by the ESA NASA Ulysses probe. Although NASA says that the spacecraft failed before critical data could be gathered in its last orbit around the southern hemisphere of our Sun, it nonetheless yielded valuable data, and we published that on October 13, 2008, with an article titled The ESA NASA Ulysses Probe and Planet X Nibiru. The probe data is clear. The Sun's southern hemisphere is noticeably more active than its northern hemisphere. Also of interest is where the peak solar winds originate and the direction in which they're pointed. Our team continued researching Harrington's paper and the many disclosure videos we'd seen. Finally, on September 7, 2010, we published our findings in an article with a video titled The Only 3 Authentic SPT Disclosure Videos of 2008. Simply put, the 3 videos we discussed in this program by Nibiru Shock 2012 and DNIR4808N are the real deal. What wasn't a real deal as predictions go was Comet Elenin, and we first raised that question in an article we published on May 15, 2011, titled, Is Comet Elenin a Decoy? After a lot of speculation, the result here is that sometimes a comet is just a comet. However, Comet Elenin was a ripe opportunity for organized distraction. Consequently, it was portrayed as Planet X, the nemesis dark star astronomers debated in the 70s, the Star of Bethlehem to herald the Second Coming, and an alien mothership under intelligent control. As it turns out, the only thing under intelligent control was the disinformation. So the next time you see a stampede in progress, you might want to keep this in mind. On July 30, 2012, a YouTube channel of anonymous amateur astronomers, the 00 Skyview, posted a video titled, "What Begins in Aquarius Ends in Aquarius." One of the first things we noticed was that this group of folks were showing us their instrumentation. Now that was something new. Then they showed us where they found their object of interest, 4 degrees below the ecliptic. Plus, like the SPT disclosure videos, this group is showing us images of a mini constellation with a large object in the center and a cluster of satellites in orbit around it. But what really got our attention was that they were observing a red iron dust cloud, the hallmark signature of a brown dwarf star. Then on November 1, 2012, the 00 Skyview team upped the ante with a video titled "Lifting the Veil." Right out the gate, they predicted a greatest eastern elongation flyby approaching from the southern skies. Not a good thing. In astronomy, a greatest eastern elongation describes an object that passes us on our side of the sun to the left of us and inside our own orbit. In this case, this object is also rising up from our southern skies. And it's interesting to compare the ESA-NASA Ulysses probe data with the 00 Skyview flyby prediction. They then presented an orbit for their object of interest, which also happens to resemble the orbit Dr. Robert S. Harrington showed in August 30th, 1990, during a television interview with Zecharia Sitchin. Next, the 00 Skyview team presented a series of color-shifted variations and a wide-field view. However, their last image is of a mini constellation in Aquarius, and it is similar to the mini constellation in the January 2008 disclosure video by Nibiru 2012 titled Nibiru Planet X Photos taken January 2008. So were they seeing the same thing? Well, we must wait and watch, because this mini constellation moves through the sky like nothing we've ever seen before. However, what we can say is that when it does appear for all to see, it will appear suddenly. And given the observations for 2013 you're about to see, the need to plan and prepare for whatever may come is more important than ever before. But first, we want to acknowledge you ladies out there who've taken an interest in Planet X. When we published our first article in January 2002 on Planet X, women represented a 12% audience share. But in 2013, your ranks have grown to nearly 3 times that. Thank you, intrepid ladies out there, because, well, the topic of Planet X is no longer a boys' club. With this in mind, I want to share helpful survival knowledge about dealing with a very ancient curse, both today and long after your medical kit is empty. Every self-healing energy art is about drawing energy and oxygen into the body. But only Danjun breathing focuses on an area of the body women know as the womb, below the belly button and above the pelvis. It is why Danjun breathing is so effective in helping to relieve the symptoms of menopause and PMS, as Master Roar Shepherd explains.
We energize that area, we heal that area, we bring oxygen right into that area. More oxygen, more healing, less pain. This is the most valuable tool for you.
Ladies, when drugs and treatments are no longer available and the medical kits are empty, what can you do? You do what Korean women have done for thousands of years, because it works. Danjun breathing. Need relief today? The good news is, the sooner you start, the better. To learn more, visit feelbetteronyourown.com today and view our free instruction videos. At the beginning of January 2013, Yowza.com researchers began tracking an uncatalogued object using the Vulcan feed camera from the Turrialba volcano in Costa Rica. I dubbed the object Bluebonnet. With these observations, we began to see a pattern forming in terms of Planet X being a mini constellation instead of a single object. Though Bluebonnet is clearly not a brown dwarf companion to our own sun, its movement through the sky does raise the possibility that it could be a far-flung orbital of a second sun. On February 11, 2013, we published our findings in a video titled Object of Interest as Seen from the Turrialba Volcano. In this frame, you see bluebonnet above the Turrialba volcano and specification data for the volcan feed. Turrialba is 10 degrees north of the equator at approximately 11,000 feet, and the volcan camera was pointed to the southwest with a good view of the Pacific Ocean on a clear day. In that video, we explain the difference between the horizon as we see it here on Earth and represented by the red line. The green line you see cutting through the center of the sun is the ecliptic. The ecliptic is the plane of our solar system, and all of the planets orbit the sun within a few degrees of it. This is important to know when analyzing a newly revealed and disturbing prediction by Nostradamus. In October 2007, the History Channel aired The Lost Book of Nostradamus for the first time. In this video, 7 prophetic images paint a catastrophic end to life as we know it. According to this program, Nostradamus is showing us the constellation of Fucus because it will play a pivotal role in the flyby. This was interesting because the volcan feed image data also shows bluebonnet transiting through or very near to the constellations Ophiuchus and Sagittarius in December of last year. Then on April 20th, 2013, we released an update video titled Blue Kachina and its Moon for our Turrialba Object of Interest. In doing our research, we began developing a new technique to analyze the imaging capabilities of the volcan feed camera at Turrialba. We initially used this technique in a rather limited way, but it later evolved into a powerful image analysis method. Also noted in this update was a video released by the 00 Skyview team on March 23, 2013 titled The 5 Uploaded Images from the Dance of the Stars video. In that video, they provided a chart that gave us an interesting possibility for potential orbitals in the vicinity of Ophiuchus. Following months of observations and capturing hundreds of images to our database, we were able to plot a rough orbit for bluebonnet, which we determined to be an outermost orbital of the Planet X system brown dwarf companion to our own sun. Ergo, bluebonnet does not orbit our sun, but rather something else that does. We also looked at the predictions of remote viewer Major Ed Dames about these times and what the Colburn Bible tells us to expect. The first passage of manuscripts 3-4 begins with, "When blood drops upon the earth, the destroyer will appear, and mountains will open up and belch forth fire and ashes." This is a key passage, so let's take a moment to study it. When blood drops upon the earth refers to the iron dust cloud surrounding the Planet X system. The destroyer will appear. What this tells us is that the iron dust cloud precedes the arrival of the destroyer, which in this case is Planet X, the ancient Hebrew and Egyptian description for this mini constellation, and the rest just doesn't get any better. On July 8, 2013, the 00